Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. So here's a new video with a Netflix and Amazon Prime Video recommendation as of today, April 17th, 2018. So my first recommendation is on Netflix, and you may have actually seen this one. It's called The Brothers Grimm, Grimm. This came out in 2005. It is directed by one of my favorite directors and writers, Terry Gilliam. I would recommend all his films, though some of them are a little easier to swallow, while others are a little more dense or have a little more maybe layers to them. This one's one of the more simpler ones, more fun, I would say, and probably good for a family. Um, it stars Matt Damon and Heath Ledger. It also has Lena Headey, Jonathan Pryce, Monica Bellucci, and one of my favorite actors, Peter Stormare. And the gist of the story is Matt Damon and Heath Ledger are con men. They go around little small villages and they drum up um, like stories, and then they'll use props and people to help them act out these fairy tales that are happening. Like, they'll say, "Oh, there's a witch in this town, and unless you pay us, $1,000, you won't be able to get rid of it." And people be like, "We don't have a witch," and then they'll make someone dress up like a witch and like go in a barn and scare people at night. And they set up these like big productions so that people start believing in it and then pay them the money. And they're conning them out of the money because they're the ones, controlling it by having their friends play a witch or a demon or whatever the case may be. Well, they get wrapped up into something and it ends up being real. And now they have to try and stop it. Um, there are some like elements from the Brothers Grimm book series. So there's, if I remember correctly, it's like a Sleeping Beauty segment. I think there's some kind of like werewolf segment. There's all like little kind of homages to the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. Um, it does have that Terry Gilliam sort of hint of his humor, um, and they're in this village and they're now, like I said, embroiled in doing this actual task to stop evil, where prior it was just all a con. So it's a funny movie. I think it's fairly lighthearted. There are some darker elements, but it's not a dark movie by any means. I think it would be good for like a teenager or a family film. Um, yeah, it's a good movie. I would recommend The Brothers Grimm. If you like Terry Gilliam's other films, this is probably one of the most easily accessible ones. So check it out if you haven't seen it. That is currently on Netflix. My other recommendation, which is currently on Amazon Prime, is not an easily accessible film in regards to the movie itself. It's easily accessible in terms of seeing it, but whether you like it or not is a different story. It's called Cosmopolis, and Cosmopolis was directed, produced, and the screenplay was written by David Cronenberg, who I also am a big fan of. David Cronenberg um, has done films like Videodrome and History of Violence. Cosmopolis was a more newer film. It came out in 2012. They're labeling it as a drama thriller. I guess I would put it in that vein. Um, it's about this billionaire who's played by James Pattinson, who is from, I think it's Robert Pattinson. Excuse me, I said James. Robert Pattinson, who is the guy from Twilight. So I was kind of turned off initially because I was like, I don't like Twilight. I don't like this actor. This movie's gonna suck. But let me give it a shot because I like David Cronenberg so much. I checked it out, and it's actually really good, and he's a good actor. I was surprised. He's this 28-year-old billionaire named Eric Packer, and he pretty much rides across Manhattan throughout the whole film, most of the film, in his luxury stretch limo. And he'll stop, and he has he'll go to get a haircut. He'll go inside of a restaurant and meet his fiance for 10 minutes. He'll have sex it's this very sort of mundane life where he has everything. He doesn't need anything. He's a billionaire. Everyone just kind of throws themselves at him. He goes in and meets his fiance for lunch, and they're just very blasé. They don't really care about one another. It's sort of like they're getting married for a status thing because I think she has money as well, and she's sort of like a gold digger and using him. And throughout the film, you kind of don't know where this is going, but you could tell he's not a happy person. Um, he becomes self-destructive. Um, There are some twists and turns. The movie does have some symbolism and some strangeness going on. Not as strange as something like Videodrome, but definitely more in like line with some of the weirder films that David Cronenberg has done. I would say it sort of reminds me a little bit of Maps to the Stars or A Dangerous Method, even Eastern Promises to an extent in terms of the way it's made. But it's a slow film. It's sort of a slow burn about this guy and what he's going through and how he's handling being a billionaire and kind of not having any sort of need or want. He sort of has everything at his fingertips and he's just burning out from being bored. He's also not necessarily a good person, but the more you watch, I think the more comes to light. I don't want to spoil the ending or anything like that. When you get to the end of the film, this is one of those movies you could rewatch and get a little more out of it, or look things up online and sort of get a little bit more in regards to the symbolism or some of the things that are happening on screen. So yeah, those are my two recommendations for both Netflix, The Brothers Grimm, and Amazon Prime, Cosmopolis. Check those out. Let me know if you've seen them, guys. And if you do watch them, let me know what you think. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe.